Over 10,000 teachers, education workers, parents and students took to the front lawn of the Ontario Legislature this weekend, protesting mandatory online learning and increased class sizes for intermediate and high school students. All the while, the government is promising that no teacher will lose their job. I'm Cristina Howorun, and that promise is of little solace to the nearly 1,000 Toronto high school teachers who received pink slips late last week. Now, surplusing is a relatively common practice for teachers this time of year, and it doesn't mean that they won't be given jobs within that school or other schools by the time September rolls around. But the union says this is nearly 4 times as many teachers as were given surpluses last year, and this year there's a projected growth in Ontario High or in Toronto high schools attendance.
We all know that it's routine proceedings for school boards to take a look at their roster and evaluate how many positions they need based on retirements and redeployments. And the fact of the matter is we need to make sure that everyone's hearing the facts. And the budget comes down on Thursday, and we're talking to our school boards on a regular basis, and they know once the budget comes down on Thursday, we'll be coming out with the GSN allotments later in April.
And those GSN, or Grants for Student Needs allotments, are critical. That's how many positions, like guidance counselors and librarians, are funded. According to the union representing Toronto high school teachers, none of those positions have yet been funded for next year. The union claims boards typically have that funding in place by now, and this year more pink slips have been issued than in the past 5 years, despite Toronto high schools being in a period of modest enrollment growth.
I'm not going to speculate and fearmonger on numbers. What I want to do is say that what is happening from school board to school board on a regular basis is an annual routine process.
Meanwhile, the Premier was quick to reiterate his promise.
Not one single teacher is going to lose their job. I'm going to repeat it again. Not one single teacher is going to lose their job.
Still, the opposition says the math just doesn't add up.
1,000 teachers in Toronto District School Board alone learned they have been declared surplus. And it's clear that the Ford government's decision to expand class sizes is responsible. Does the Premier understand that you can't build a world-class education system at the same time as you're laying off thousands of teachers who provide that education?
We are talking about the elimination of thousands of jobs across this province. And just to give you a sense of that, you think that the crowds that were here at Queen's Park the other day were about 10,000. Some people said strong, maybe more. But you get a sense there of what 10,000 education workers eliminated looks like.
Now, in other news, today the government announced it will introduce legislation to make stickers like these mandatory at all gas pumps across the province, essentially reminding motorists that the federal carbon tax will add 11 cents per litre to your gasoline by 2022. Now, if you're wondering, these were actually produced by a Toronto-based company, not the Ford Deco company, but they may actually already have to be reprinted because, well, see this little Trillium logo right here on the bottom? Well, the government's considering revising that, and that means all of these will have to be reprinted.